In this video, we're gonna be working on this Ram 1500. So this one has a hellcat swap, but what we're gonna be doing in today's video is installing these 4-link arms and track bar from CORE4x4. So if you guys do or don't know, the 2009 up 1500s ended up going to a factory 4-link setup. And if you're going for performance and you want the most out of your truck, you're gonna want to upgrade the control arms. So these ones have Johnny joints. They come in a bunch of different configurations, adjustable, non-adjustable, race, all sorts. So if you guys are interested in upgraded control arms, go head over to their website, CORE4x4. They come in a bunch of different configurations, colors, everything. So I chose to go with the bronze chrome powder coating finish, and super happy with the outcome. And also we got the track bar over here. So you can see we got lower control arms, upper control arms, and we have hardware. So let's get straight into it, you guys. We got the truck here, it's already on the lift. So let's put it up in the air. Like I mentioned, you can fully adjust these. So if you want to get into a situation where you want to correct your pinion angle or run any sort of different angle on the rear axle, you can with these since they have the adjustability. But what we're going to do in this application is we're going to install it one by one so that we can maintain the stock geometry. So I'm going to take a bar off. We'll measure the bar, the stock factory bar, against these. We will adjust it accordingly, and then we'll install that bar. That way we maintain the geometry that we currently have on this, and then we can go from there. So let's get straight into it. So here we are underneath the vehicle. So you can see here, lower control arm, upper control arm. Same thing on this side, lower, upper, and then our back track bar is here. So like I said, I'm gonna do each one at a time. If you're doing it on a lift or not. Also, you'll notice this is because this vehicle is lowered. It has the relocation brackets from Inez, so these are on here as well to correct the geometry, which is why I'm gonna just put them back into the original length, because this is already fixing my pinion angle and everything with the drop. So this arm here, you'll notice the parking brake cable mounts to it, so we do have a spot for that on our CORE4x4 arms. So I just zipped off this one bolt. You can get down here with a breaker bar or whatnot to get these off, or if you use an impact, there are a 24 mil head and also 24 mil nut. So that's the hardware that's on there. And then as you can see here, I should be able to just slide each respective arm out one at a time. I'm not sure if the top ones, they're obviously going to be a little bit more fun. I will still try to see if I can sneak in here without having to take out too much. This side looks a little bit easier. Of course, if you have the stock muffler system, I don't know if you'll have more or less room, but all this hardware looks pretty accessible from this side. With the tank being over here, obviously a little bit less room, but I think we can still get it done. So anyways, let's get to work. Let's zip these off and get this done. Okay, so we've got our 2 bolts loose. I'm gonna go ahead and take the 13 out of here for our parking brake. And then this arm can pretty much come out. All right, so we've got the new arm in here. I'm actually probably going to adjust the pinion angle because I did find that I want to tailor it a little bit. So I can't really shorten this bottom bar with the other bar connected. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, and I might have to adjust some stuff back and forth. So anyways, let's go ahead and try to get this upper one out. So this is gonna be, like I said, the hardest bar, this one up here to remove as far as accessibility. So let me go ahead and see how I get that done and let you guys know the best way. I did use a breaker bar on it initially, but able to access it from here pretty nicely. So you could take the fender liner out to get in here, but not necessary. Okay, as for this one, same thing. You can get a long bar in here and crack it loose, which I already cracked it. It wasn't that loose or anything. And then once you crack it loose, you can switch over to a ratchet and a wrench as well. So we'll get that there. And this here, we'll take this one off. So this one does appear to be under some tension compared to the other one. All right, so it's just the fact that the brackets are kind of positioning things on a weird angle, but managing to get both bolts out. There she is. So there is our upper arm removed. All right, so as for the lengths and whatnot, if you want to put it back the way you had it and you got adjustable arms, what you can do is just drop the bolts through the original arm and then go like this and drop it over top and adjust them so that both bolts fit through. So you can see here this one's short, so of course we can extend it by spinning them, and then we can go ahead and put it in. So probably want to spin this with these and your grease fittings facing each other. That way you're not overextending one joint over the other, you're evenly extending them. But anyways, we'll adjust this up. I'm actually gonna go a little bit longer, maybe just like a turn extra, like longer, because I'm trying to adjust the pinion angle at the same time. So we'll see about what we're gonna do there, but anyways, that's how you adjust them. So as an example, we have both of them. These are the uppers. We've got them straight through. So I got the bolt here. You can see here the bolt is in there and it is fitting over top on both. So these are identical length right now if we were to do something like that. That way at least you know you're installing them, and then you can always adjust them on the vehicle after. All right, so I've adjusted both of my arms to match, and you can see here the bolt drops through both of them cleanly. So we know that these are the same length, and it's actually the same length as this. So we can go ahead and install it. We're not going to be fighting our suspension to install them, and we'll drop them in and then we can adjust them as necessary, and we can count the turns afterwards. And one last comparison, there's our stock arm dropped onto those as well. So we're going to go up through here, same way we came out. All right, you guys, that's looking so good. So we got the upper and lower on this side. You guys can choose to use the new fasteners. I'm more of an OEM fastener guy, but it does come with new grade 8 hardware in the bag. So I'm actually going to adjust these once I get the other side on, because trying to put my preferred setting on this side and you know, while this is still holding everything in place is kind of a task in itself. So anyways, I got these ones in here in the stock lengths because that's what it wanted, because we got the stock length holding it in that same position over here. So now with these ones on, I haven't tightened any of this stuff yet. We'll tighten everything at once. These, we'll go ahead and we'll take this off. So I'm going to zip right through it, you guys. Same deal, it's not that exciting, and this side is going to be a heck of a lot easier since it's a little bit more accessible, at least with this exhaust system. So let me rip right through this. Let's get these off. Alright guys, so we got both arms installed on both sides. So what I'm going to do is tighten up at least my hardware here, because I am going to start adjusting stuff. So like I said, if you were just keeping your factory angles and all that stuff, then you would just set these with the bolt method that I was showing you before, or you could do it however you please, but that was the method that I think gets you pretty dang close without a ton of effort. But I'm gonna end up adjusting these, so I'm gonna pick some reference points, you know, from the frame or the bolt on each side, and then I'm going to turn these, because you can effectively, as you can see here, our axle is rolling, so you can effectively change the way the axle is, and you can change your pinion angle based on adjusting these. So I'm gonna pick some common points and make sure they're matched, you know, the bottom one from this side to the other, make sure they're the same length, and I am going to get this in place. If you guys are wondering what I'm using one of these digital angle finders, and I'm putting it on my pinion, and then I'm going over to the transmission, finding a flat spot on my transmission and seeing what the angle is. You could try to, if you're, depending on what flange you have, you could try to get it on the flange, which would be ideal, but this doesn't really have a flat spot on it, so I'm going with the flat spot on the casing of the transmission to get my angle and comparing it. So there we go, we're all zeroed out, and that is on the flat portion of the case. If I go back here and I put it on right here. Look, 4.7, 4.8. Like, this is way too much, you guys. So I gotta crank this thing up. It's almost 5 degrees without me adjusting these bars. So definitely want to get it between, usually between 1 and 2 pointed down is okay. It's tolerable. That way when you accelerate and the pinion drives up, it's pretty much 0. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it. So essentially what I'm gonna do is lengthen the top, maybe see about shortening the bottom, but I'm pretty much already there on the bottom, so it's mostly gonna be lengthening those top bars. Okay, so I'm even putting it on the side here because the ribs are a little nicer here as far as the way it sits. So there you go, zeroed out. And if I go over here, after making all my adjustments, we're within kind of the drag racer spec, 1 to 2 degrees, sometimes 2.5. You can see there, 1.63. Hopefully you can see there. So I'm a lot more happy with this, you guys. So it's pointing down 1.6 degrees, not pointing up 4.6. So this is a much better angle for us. So hopefully if there was going to be any vibration, that is taken care of. So I've got everything balanced. So if you guys are wondering how I did it, I measured, you can measure from any common point, but I measured from the ends of our Johnny joint here on both sides, and then I adjusted each one to match, obviously driver to passenger side. So I did that with the lowers, I did that with the uppers, same thing. I just measured to the very edge of the Johnny joint, and again, these bolts are all tight, so we're good there. And then I was able to rotate the bars and match them evenly. So now I've got to tighten these down so that everything's secured. So I'm gonna do my best to not ruin this beautiful finish here, and get these all locked into place here. All right, so I got everything tight, and what I did was I just secured this. So they give you this ring, and there's a little Allen here, and that locates your bracket for your parking brake cables. Mine, I seem to remember, is a little bit manipulated because of the lowering kit, so yours might look a little bit different because I seem to remember I had to bend it a little bit so that it would clear everything. But anyways, that's what that's for. Now let's go ahead and get this track bar in here. So we're gonna loosen both these bolts, and you can see I don't have a spare tire, so it's gonna make it very easy for us to access. And this one should be fairly straightforward. We can just use the existing length and throw it in there. So this side tends to have this nut that has the wing on it to catch it, but this side you will have to throw a 21 wrench on here. Also, just be careful too when you remove this track bar, because it can cause the axle to kind of go either which way. Since this vehicle is lowered, it's really not going anywhere, but if you had like a raised lifted vehicle, definitely make sure you have this thing supported properly. Man, check out the difference between the stock track bar and this Core 4x4 one. It is just so much more beefy. And part of the other thing too, you guys, is the fact that the Johnny joints on the end, they're gonna be a lot stronger and not allow for as much give. So these rubber bushings, especially after a while, whether it's age or mileage, they really get worn down, and just allows for a lot more play in your chassis. So what we're gonna do, same thing here. So we're gonna drop our bolts through, and then we're gonna adjust our track bar, again, evenly until it drops onto the bolts, and then we'll know we have the exact same length. All right, so I'm happy with this. It literally drops perfectly straight on. So we know we're in the same position. So I'm gonna go over here, we'll install it, and then once it's installed, we can tighten everything on the vehicle. All right, you guys, so check this out. Everything is in here looking amazing. So everything's in here tight, torque down to spec. Of course, check your torque specs. Make sure that you guys are torqued down, because you want everything to be tight. And I'm super happy with the outcome of this, you guys. This product is top notch, honestly. And the fact that I didn't originally plan on adjusting these, because I thought that everything would be pretty good as far as pinion angle, but the fact that I was able to easily adjust my pinion angle, like I said, I ended up shortening this one and lengthening this one to rotate my pinion up a little bit because it was way too far down. So now I'm just under 2 degrees, and now should be good. So I'll test it like that. Panhard bar, it's all tight in here. We've also got that adjustability. If you guys are wondering over here as far as centering and stuff like that, so there's my wheel. It's centered in the wheel well. So that's the other big thing. If you lower these vehicles, if you don't have the relocation brackets, you'll usually end up not having a centered wheel. But just with the relocation brackets and then me just, you know, tweaking the pinion a little bit, I was able to rotate the axle, and you can see there it's still nice and centered in the wheel well. So that's gonna be a wrap, you guys. Super happy with the outcome. I'm gonna make subsequent videos for you guys showing you guys this thing performing under severe circumstances. We're gonna be going to the track. I'm just getting a few more things wrapped up. We'll be back at the track. So between those, our shocks, this thing is going to hook. So I'm super excited to get to the track because those bars will help to reduce any wheel hop that we have, because the back is going to be much stronger than ever before and everything's not going to be dancing around as much. I'll link those down below. They have a bunch of configurations for you guys, whether you want race arms, if you want just one Johnny joint on one side, and you can spec them out all different ways, different colors, different setups. So go check them out, you guys. They also have other parts for these 4th gens. I know they have upper control arms that they just came out with as well of the making of this video. I'll link them below for you guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Check out the other videos on this channel. We've got a lot on these trucks, and we'll see you on the next one.